well into 2024 now, aren't we? I hope you've all been safe wherever you are. There's been a lot of storms and floods and things all over the world. Um, Nothing too bad where I am here, but I know, like in Europe and in the UK, there's been lots of floods. In Japan, they had an earthquake, and Queensland right now they're having floods. So it's a bit dramatic in places. Um, we're going all right here. We've had rain on and off, but nothing too heavy, and it's been hot, but not like too hot for me, so mid 30s. But we haven't had a day over 40 for a while, and that's good because I hate it. And I've got air conditioning in the house, so I'm lucky. So that's good. I've been bought quite a lot of plants, and I'm going to make a little shade garden on the veranda, which I will take some footage of and show you as a work in progress, and then when it's finished. I meant to say ages ago, like when I was writing out the Christmas cards, I realised I hardly ever handwrite anything these days. You know, at work, when I was working, and before they brought the computers in, you spent quite a lot of your day writing, and then the computers came in. So I don't know how it is for most of you, but I bet you hardly ever handwrite anything too. And I found like my muscle memory for writing is just not there anymore. And my handwriting, just writing, Merry Christmas, it was terrible. My writing was awful. And I guess that's a thing that's going to be done less and less, apart from possibly our signature on something. So yes, a skill, unless you actively sort of practice calligraphy and make some art with it and that kind of thing, I think we're all losing the skill of how to write neatly and legibly. I certainly am. It's terrible. And then sometimes I feel as if the era that I grew up in was closer to, I don't know, it was the Dark Ages than now in some ways. I watched a video the other day because I'm interested in history. I watch a lot of historical cooking, and I watch some like historical reenacting, costuming and things. And they were talking about the history of bathing and keeping clean. And I was thinking back to when I grew up. Showering wasn't a thing. I didn't know anyone with a shower, and I don't think we started having showers until the very late 70s, possibly when we moved to a different house. Well, we always had a house with a bathroom. I did have an auntie, my auntie and uncle, Auntie Jean and Uncle Tom, when I first knew them, when I was very little, they lived in a house that didn't have a bathroom, and it had a outside toilet down the backyard as well. So they would have had a tin bath that they had to fill up with hot water. And even though we had a house with a bath wasn't something you did every day. The water heating was electric. It was very expensive, and bath was once a week. And the reason this historical bathing program reminded me of that was because it was saying that people think that people in the past must have smelt really bad and that they didn't keep clean. And I find, like here in Australia, there's this sort of running joke that the Poms, like the English, don't wash, or that they only wash once a week or shower once a week. And certainly we did only have a bath once a week. And for some families, I mean, even ours at times, just filling the bath with hot water was quite a big expense. So you used to they put the children in first, in our household anyway, and then Mum would have a bath and then Dad would have a bath, all in the same water. So it was pretty gross by the time Dad got out. I'm not sure it would keep you clean. But you had to wash every day, and I find people if they're put in a situation where they haven't got access to a shower or a bath, they don't know how to get themselves clean anymore. So yeah, you had a basin of you ran water into the sink, you know, and my grandmother would have grown up with a wash bowl and jug. You sometimes still see them, don't you, as decorative things. And you get hot water in the bowl, and you get your flannel face cloth, and you wet it and put soap on it, and you wash your face and hands, and then rinse it off, and then you put more soap on, and you wash like under your arms and your front and your back, and then you rinse it off, and then you wash the other bits. My grandma even used to like lift her feet up one at a time up to the sink, so she was pretty agile, so she could wash her feet. And sometimes I find people having, as a nurse, I've watched a lot of people shower, or I've helped them shower, and plenty of people, more men than women, don't really wash themselves in the shower. They just let the water run on them, and they think that's got them clean, but they don't get like a cloth with soap and rub it all over themselves and exfoliate or scrub. I mean, some people do, so you know, some men do, but yeah, there's plenty of people who I think come out of the shower less clean than a British person in the olden days who'd had a wash. And another thing, completely off the topic, but another thing that makes me feel like I don't know, just old, I suppose, but more from a different era, is the issue of privacy on the internet and that kind of thing. I'm all for privacy, but the idea of someone being able to find out where you live, for example, if they knew your name, they could find out where you lived, because that's what the telephone book was. So if you had a telephone, and we didn't get one until, I'd say it was about 10 or 12 before we had one that was just a telephone for our house. So we didn't used to have one at all, and you had to go to either Mr. and Mrs. Leeton, who lived next door but one, or I think the Nortons on the corner had a phone. So you had to go to someone with a phone, so that was just for emergencies, and you gave their number to all your relatives for emergencies. And then after that we had a party line, which was shared with another house, where you had to just make sure they weren't using it when you were on the phone. And then we had a phone of our own, but you were just automatically in the book, in the white pages, I suppose we'd call it now. We were in the telephone book, and you had to pay extra to be X directory and not be in the phone book. And that had your name, your phone number, and your address. So anyone who knew your name and the town where you lived could look you up and find out your address. So I guess with the internet, if you're doing YouTube videos or things like that, some people would be a bit hesitant at saying, you know, where they live. And as you know, I make no secret of the fact that I live here in Lockhart in New South Wales in the Riverina. But if I was a really popular YouTuber, and especially if I was younger and, you know, more conventionally attractive, let's say, then I probably would have to be a lot more careful, because stalkers and all of that kind of thing. But yeah, different world, really. Things have changed so much. What else am I going to tell you? Oh, I've been making some, well, I haven't been making them, but I've been involved with some other videos. So I've been playing a game, a social bluffing game called Blood on the Clock Tower, which is kind of like a whodunit with murders and a good team and an evil team, goodies and baddies, and you have to work out who are the baddies, and they have to try and get you to believe that good people are bad and like execute them, and it's really fun. So there are some videos of me involved with games of that. If anyone's interested, I'll try and find the links for those, and I'll put the link for the history of bathing for anyone who's interested in that. And that, I think I shall leave it at that for today. It's just a little one. I feel as if I've forgotten something, but I'll do another video soon and tell you about that if I have. So it's a goodbye from me. It's a goodbye from the muffin. Come here. Say goodbye. Bye bye. Have a lovely week or two, and I'll be back soon.